I, 28M, have been married to my wife Samantha, 27F, for 5 years now. We met during our sophomore year of college when we were both part of the same study group for our economics class. Samantha was this bright, bubbly girl who always had a smile on her face. I was immediately drawn to her positive energy. We started dating a few months later, and things just clicked. We had so much in common. We both loved hiking, trying new restaurants, and spending quiet evenings at home watching movies. After graduation, we got married in a small ceremony with just our close family and friends. We were young and in love, ready to take on the world together. The first couple of years of our marriage were great. We both landed decent jobs right out of college. I started working as a junior accountant at a local firm, and Samantha got a job as a marketing assistant at a tech startup. We saved up and bought a small house in the suburbs. It wasn't much, but it was ours, and we were proud of it. We talked about having kids early on. Samantha comes from a big family. She has 3 siblings, and she always wanted to be a young mom. I was an only child, so the idea of a big family was both exciting and a little scary to me. But seeing how happy it made Samantha, I was on board. About 2 years ago, Samantha got pregnant with our daughter, Sophie. We were over the moon. I still remember the day Samantha told me she had planned this whole elaborate reveal with a tiny pair of baby shoes. We spent hours that night talking about our future, picking out names, and imagining what our child would be like. During the pregnancy, I took on extra hours at work. I wanted to save up as much as possible for the baby expenses. It was tough. I was often working 60-hour weeks, but I felt it was worth it. Samantha had a difficult pregnancy with a lot of morning sickness, so I wanted to make sure she could relax and take care of herself. A few months before Sophie was born, Samantha brought up the idea of being a stay-at-home mom, at least for the first few years. Her own mom had stayed at home with her and her siblings, and Samantha wanted to do the same for our child. I was a bit hesitant at first. Living on a single income would be tight, but Samantha was so passionate about it that I agreed. We figured we could make it work if we were careful with our budget. Sophie was born on a rainy Tuesday morning in April. She was perfect, 7 pounds, 6 ounces, with a full head of dark hair just like mine. Those first few weeks were a blur of sleepless nights and diaper changes, but we were so in love with our little girl. At first, Samantha seemed to thrive as a stay-at-home mom. She joined a local mommy group, took Sophie to baby yoga classes, and was always trying new recipes for homemade baby food. I would come home from work to find them cuddled up on the couch, Samantha reading stories to Sophie. But as the months went by, I started to notice a change in Samantha. She became more withdrawn and irritable. She complained about being stuck at home all day with the baby. When I'd get home from work, she'd often hand Sophie to me and disappear into our bedroom for hours. I tried to help out as much as I could. I'd take over baby duty as soon as I got home, do the dishes, fold the laundry. But it never seemed to be enough. Samantha would find something to criticize. I didn't put the bottles in the right place. I didn't fold the onesies the way she liked. Our arguments became more frequent. Sometimes they were about big things, like our finances, which were getting tighter, or my long work hours. Other times they were about small things, like whose turn it was to get up with Sophie in the middle of the night. I suggested that maybe Samantha could join a gym or take up a hobby to get out of the house more, but she said we couldn't afford it. I felt stuck. I was working as hard as I could to provide for our family, but it still wasn't enough. A few months ago, Samantha told me she wanted to go back to work. I was surprised but supportive. We agreed that she'd look for a part-time job so we could balance childcare and work. She found a job as a receptionist at a local law firm. At first, things seemed better. Samantha was happier, and our arguments decreased. She'd come home from work with stories about her day, and it felt like we were connecting again. We even started having regular date nights, with my parents babysitting Sophie. But then I noticed she was spending a lot of time on her phone, always texting and smiling. When I asked her about it, she said it was just work stuff. I tried to brush off my concerns. After all, I should be happy that she was enjoying her job, right? Last week, I came home early from work to surprise Samantha. I had picked up flowers and was planning to suggest we go out for dinner. When I walked in, I heard her laughing in the kitchen. I thought maybe she had a friend over, but when I entered, I saw her on a video call with a man I didn't recognize. As soon as she saw me, she quickly ended the call and looked flustered. I asked her who she was talking to, and she said it was just a coworker. But something felt off. I've never been the jealous type, but her reaction made me suspicious. I asked to see her phone, and she refused, saying I was being controlling. We had a huge argument that night. Samantha accused me of not trusting her and said I was suffocating her. She brought up all sorts of old grievances, how I work too much, how I don't appreciate everything she does for our family. I told her that her behavior was making me uncomfortable and that I just wanted honesty. The next day, I decided to do some digging. I know it wasn't right, but I checked our phone bill. I saw numerous calls and texts to a number I didn't recognize, often late at night or when I was at work. Some calls lasted for over an hour. I confronted Samantha again, and this time she broke down. She admitted that she had been talking to a lawyer at her firm named Mark, 32M. She swore it was just friendship, that he was going through a divorce and needed someone to talk to. But I could see the guilt in her eyes. I asked her if she had feelings for him, and she couldn't give me a straight answer. She said she was confused and didn't know what she wanted anymore. She talked about feeling trapped in our marriage, how she felt like she had lost her identity since becoming a mom. I felt like my whole world was crumbling. This was the woman I had planned to spend the rest of my life with, the mother of my child. How had we gotten to this point? I don't know what to do. I love Samantha, and I love our daughter, but I can't shake the feeling that there's more to this friendship than she's letting on. I'm hurt, angry, and confused. I've been staying with my brother for the past few days to clear my head. He's been great, letting me crash on his couch and listening to me vent. Samantha keeps calling and texting, begging me to come home so we can talk. She says she wants to work things out, that she'll end her friendship with Mark. I grew up in a happy, two-parent household, and I always wanted the same for my kids. The thought of Sophie growing up in a broken home breaks my heart. I don't know if I can ever trust Samantha again. Even if nothing physical happened with Mark, she still lied to me and developed an emotional connection with another man. How can I be sure it won't happen again? I'm also worried about the practical aspects of separation. We can barely afford our lifestyle on 2 incomes. How would we manage if we split up? And what about custody of Sophie? I never thought I'd be in this position. When we got married, I was so sure we'd be together forever. Now, I'm not sure of anything anymore. Am I overreacting? Should I give her another chance? Or should I start preparing for the worst? I'm completely lost and could use some advice. Update 1: It's been a roller coaster few weeks since my last post. Thank you all for your advice and support. I've got quite an update for you. After staying at my brother's for a week, I decided to go home and talk to Samantha. My brother thought I was being too forgiving, but I felt I owed it to our marriage and to Sophie to at least try to work things out. When I got home, Samantha was a mess. It was clear she hadn't been sleeping much, and the house was in disarray. Sophie was at my parents' house. Samantha had asked them to take her for a few days while she sorted some things out. We had a long, emotional conversation that lasted well into the night. Samantha swore that nothing physical had happened between her and Mark, but she admitted that they had been flirting and that she had developed feelings for him. She told me about how lonely and overwhelmed she had felt after Sophie was born. She said she felt like she had lost her identity, that she was just Sophie's mom or my wife and not Samantha anymore. The attention from Mark made her feel desired and interesting again. I was hurt but tried to understand. I realized that I had been so focused on providing for our family financially that I had neglected the emotional side of our relationship. We both cried and agreed that we needed to do better. We decided to try couples counseling and work on our communication. Samantha agreed to quit her job at the law firm. She said she couldn't trust herself to be around Mark. I promised to cut back on my work hours so I could be home more. For about a week, things were tense but improving. We started having daily check-ins where we'd talk about our feelings and any issues that came up. We took turns getting up with Sophie at night so we were both getting more sleep. We even started planning a weekend getaway, just the two of us. I took some time off work to be home more. We spent time together as a family, taking Sophie to the park and having picnics in our backyard. It felt like we were slowly reconnecting. But then, last Friday, everything blew up again. I was putting Sophie to bed when Samantha's phone kept buzzing with notifications. She was in the shower, and I know I shouldn't have, but I looked at her phone. There were multiple messages from Mark. They were definitely not just friendly. He was talking about how much he missed her, how he couldn't stop thinking about their last meeting. There were references to kisses and touches that made my blood run cold. I confronted Samantha as soon as she got out of the shower. At first, she tried to deny it, saying I was misinterpreting things. But when I told her I'd seen the messages, she broke down. She admitted that she had been meeting Mark in secret for the past 2 weeks. She said it started innocently. She ran into him at a coffee shop and they got to talking. But one thing led to another, and they ended up kissing. Samantha swore it was just kissing, that they hadn't slept together. But at this point, I don't know if I believe her anymore. She's lied to me so many times now, how can I trust anything she says? I was furious. I felt like such a fool. Here I was, trying to save our marriage, while she was sneaking around behind my back. I packed a bag for Sophie and myself and went to my parents' house. My parents were shocked when I told them what had happened. They've always loved Samantha like a daughter, and they couldn't believe she would do this. My mom suggested that maybe Samantha was going through some kind of depression or midlife crisis. My dad was less sympathetic. He said Samantha had made her choices and now she had to live with the consequences. Samantha has been calling and texting nonstop since I left. She's begging for another chance, saying she'll do anything to save our marriage. She says she's realized what a mistake she's made, that Mark means nothing to her and our family is everything. Part of me wants to believe her. I think about the good times we've had, about the life we've built together. I look at Sophie and I see both of us in her. The thought of breaking up our family is agonizing. But another part of me is just done. I've given Samantha so many chances, and she's thrown them all away. How many times can I let her break my heart before I say enough is enough? I'm also angry at myself. I feel like I should have seen this coming. There were so many red flags, the late night phone calls, the sudden need for privacy, the emotional distance. Was I just too naive to see what was right in front of me? I'm torn about what to do next. My parents think I should file for divorce and custody of Sophie. They say Samantha has shown that she can't be trusted, and that I need to protect myself and my daughter. My brother, on the other hand, thinks I should give her one last chance for Sophie's sake. He says that kids from broken homes often struggle, and that if there's any chance of salvaging our marriage, I owe it to Sophie to try. I'm stuck in limbo, not sure what to do. I've consulted a lawyer just to know my options, but I haven't filed anything yet. The lawyer advised me to start documenting everything: Samantha's admissions, the text messages, the times she's left Sophie to meet Mark. He says if it comes to a custody battle, I'll need all the evidence I can get. Samantha keeps saying it was a mistake and that Mark meant nothing to her, but how can I believe that? If he meant nothing, why did she risk everything for him? And even if I could forgive her, how could I ever trust her again? I'm also worried about Sophie. She's too young to understand what's happening, but she knows something is wrong. She keeps asking for her mom, and it breaks my heart. I don't want her to grow up in a broken home, but I also don't want her to think that it's okay to treat your partner this way. I never thought I'd be in this position. I always believed Samantha and I would be together forever. Now, I'm not sure of anything anymore. Has anyone been in a similar situation? How did you handle it? Is it possible to rebuild trust after something like this? Or am I just setting myself up for more heartbreak if I give her another chance? Update 2. I can't believe I'm writing another update, but here we are. A lot has happened in the past 2 months, and I'm still trying to process it all. After much consideration and many sleepless nights, I decided to give Samantha one last chance. Many of you advised against it, and maybe you were right. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I owed it to our family to try one last time. We started intensive couples therapy. 3 times a week, we'd sit in a therapist's office and hash out our issues. It was hard, really hard. We talked about things we'd been avoiding for years: resentments, disappointments, unmet expectations. Samantha seemed genuinely remorseful. She deleted Mark's number, quit her job at the law firm, and was doing everything she could to rebuild my trust. She started keeping a journal that she shared with me, detailing her thoughts and feelings each day. She even suggested I have full access to her phone and email, though I didn't take her up on that offer. I didn't want our relationship to be built on constant surveillance. We also focused on reconnecting as a couple. We started having regular date nights again, trying new hobbies together, and even took a weekend trip, just the 2 of us, while my parents watched Sophie. It felt like we were rediscovering each other. Samantha got a new part-time job at a local bookstore. It seemed perfect. She's always loved reading, and the hours were flexible enough that she could still be home with Sophie most of the time. I was starting to believe that maybe we could actually work things out. Then, about 3 weeks ago, I got an anonymous email. The sender claimed to be a friend of Mark's wife, Jessica. Yes, you read that right. Mark is married. The email contained screenshots of conversations between Samantha and Mark, dating back to when they first met at the law firm. I was in shock as I read through the messages. They revealed that Samantha and Mark's relationship had been physical from almost the beginning. They had been meeting at hotels during Samantha's lunch breaks and after work. There were explicit messages about their encounters that made me feel physically ill. What hurt the most was reading messages where they talked about their future together. They had discussed leaving their spouses and starting a new life. Samantha had written about how unhappy she was in our marriage, how she felt Mark truly understood her in a way I never could. I confronted Samantha with the evidence. This time, she didn't try to lie. She broke down completely, admitting to everything. She said she had ended things with Mark for good when I gave her the second chance, but she was too ashamed to tell me the full extent of their affair. She tried to explain that she had been in a dark place, that she didn't really mean the things she said to Mark about our marriage. She swore that she had realized how much she loved me and Sophie, and that's why she had committed so fully to fixing our relationship. But I was beyond listening at this point. All the progress we had made, all the trust we had rebuilt, shattered in an instant. I felt like I was back at square one, only this time the betrayal was even deeper. I told Samantha to pack her things and leave. She begged and pleaded, saying she would do anything to save our marriage, but I couldn't hear it anymore. I was done. The lies, the betrayal, it was too much. I felt like I had been living in a fantasy world for the past few weeks, believing we could actually fix things. I've filed for divorce and full custody of Sophie. Samantha is staying with her sister for now. She's still trying to convince me to reconsider, saying it was a huge mistake and that she loves me, but I can't bring myself to believe anything she says anymore. The hardest part is explaining this to Sophie. She's too young to understand fully, but she knows her mom isn't living with us anymore. It breaks my heart to see her confusion and sadness. I'm trying my best to maintain a stable routine for her, but it's challenging. I'm angry, hurt, and feeling like a complete fool. I gave Samantha so many chances, and she threw them all away. Now, I'm left to pick up the pieces of our broken family. Some days, it's hard to even get out of bed, but I know I have to stay strong for Sophie. I've also reached out to Jessica, Mark's wife. She didn't know about the affair either. We met for coffee and talked for hours. It was cathartic to speak with someone who understands exactly what I'm going through. We've been supporting each other through this mess. It's a small comfort in this whole ordeal. My parents have been incredibly supportive. They've been helping with Sophie and have offered to let us move in with them for a while if needed. My dad, who was skeptical about giving Samantha another chance, hasn't said "I told you so," which I appreciate. Work has been understanding, thankfully. I've taken some time off to deal with everything, and my boss has been flexible with my hours. I'm grateful for that, as I need to be there for Sophie now more than ever. I never thought I'd be a single dad at 28, but here I am. I'm focusing on Sophie and trying to create a stable environment for her. It's hard, but she's the reason I get up every morning. We've been spending a lot of quality time together, reading books, going to the park, baking cookies. Seeing her smile makes all of this a little more bearable. I've started seeing a therapist on my own to work through my feelings. It's helping me process the anger and betrayal. I know I need to be in a good place mentally for Sophie's sake. I guess this is the end of my marriage. It's not the ending I ever wanted or expected, but I know it's for the best. I can't stay with someone I can't trust, no matter how much history we have. It's going to be a long road, but I'm committed to creating a happy, healthy life for Sophie and myself. Thank you all for your support throughout this ordeal. Your advice and kind words have been a lifeline. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I know I'll get through this, for Sophie's sake and my own. Update 3. It's been half a year since my last update, and I thought I'd share where things stand now. The divorce is finalized. It was a messy and emotional process, but it's done. I got primary custody of Sophie, with Samantha having visitation every other weekend. It's not ideal, but it's what's best for Sophie right now. Samantha fought hard for joint custody, but given her history of instability and the affair, the judge ruled in my favor. Samantha moved out of town shortly after the divorce was finalized. She said she needed a fresh start. She's about an hour away now, which makes visitations a bit complicated, but we're making it work. She's still in Sophie's life, but I can tell it's hard for her to face me after everything that happened. As for me, I'm slowly putting my life back together. The first few months were rough. I was angry all the time, and it was affecting my relationship with Sophie. I'd find myself snapping at her over small things, then feeling guilty about it. I realized I needed help, so I started seeing a therapist regularly. It's been really helpful in processing my emotions and learning how to co-parent with Samantha despite everything. Sophie is doing better now. She still misses having both parents at home, but she's adjusting to the new normal. We have a good routine going, and I'm doing my best to give her a stable, loving environment. She's started preschool, which she loves. It's been good for her to have that social interaction with other kids. Work has been a saving grace. I threw myself into it, and it's paid off. I got a promotion last month, which has helped ease some of the financial strain of being a single parent. My boss has been understanding about my situation and allows me to have a flexible schedule so I can be there for Sophie. I've started dating again, very casually. It's weird being back in the dating world after being married for so long, but it's nice to feel that spark of connection again. I've been on a few coffee dates, nothing serious. It's mostly just nice to have adult conversations that don't revolve around work or parenting. I'm taking things slow, though. Sophie comes first, and I'm not ready for anything serious yet. Jessica, Mark's ex-wife, and I have become good friends. We've been a support system for each other throughout this whole ordeal. We meet up for coffee every couple of weeks to chat and check in on each other. There's nothing romantic there, just a deep understanding and respect. It's nice to have someone who truly gets what I've been through. As for Samantha and Mark, last I heard, they're not together. Samantha tried to reconcile with me one last time about 2 months ago, saying she had made the biggest mistake of her life. But I stood firm. Too much had happened, and I couldn't go back. She seemed to finally accept it and has been more cooperative with the co-parenting arrangement since then. I won't lie, there are still days when I miss the life we had, the family we were supposed to be. Sometimes I look at old photos and wonder how we got here. But then I remember all the lies and betrayal, and I know I made the right decision. Looking back, I can see now that our marriage had problems long before Mark came into the picture. We both made mistakes. I worked too much and didn't prioritize our relationship. Samantha struggled with the transition to motherhood and didn't communicate her needs effectively. But Samantha's choices destroyed any chance of reconciliation. I'm focusing on being the best dad I can be to Sophie. She's my world, and seeing her smile makes all the pain worth it. We have our little traditions now, Saturday morning pancakes, Sunday afternoon trips to the park. I'm also learning to be happy on my own, to rediscover who I'm outside of being a husband. It's not the life I planned, but I'm making the best of it. To anyone going through something similar, hang in there. It does get better. It's a slow process, but you'll find happiness again.